In 1802, William Buckley was 22 years old and lived in England. He had worked as a builder and as a soldier, but was found guilty of receiving stolen goods and sentenced to life imprisonment. He was amongst 300 convicts transported to Port Phillip Bay aboard the ship Calcutta.
The Calcutta landed at Sorrento, where the convicts were Victoria's first white settlers. Life as a convict was very hard and offered no hope. William Buckley and 3 other convicts decided to escape.
On the night of December 27, 1803, Buckley and 3 friends crept out of the camp and ran for their lives. One man was shot by the guards, but Buckley and the others disappeared into the night.
They walked for days, thinking they were heading for Sydney. After crossing the Yarra River, they camped in the Yuyangs. In the Yuyangs, they couldn't find any food. Finally, starving and exhausted, they came to rest on Swan Island. Much to their dismay, they saw the Calcutta anchored across the bay. They realised they had gone in a circle.
They were tired and hungry and thirsty. They lit fires to attract help, but no help came. Fearing for their lives, 2 of the men decided to return to the prison camp, but Buckley refused to go. He was prepared to try his luck surviving on his own rather than return to a lifetime of imprisonment. Buckley walked and walked and walked. He was weak from lack of food and water, but eventually he found a place with fresh water and a good supply of shellfish and berries. This place may have been where Anglesey is now.
Over this time, the local Aboriginal people attempted to befriend Buckley, but he didn't understand their language and was frightened. By winter time, Buckley was again struggling to survive. His summer berries and fresh food had run out and his spirit was broken. He decided to return to the prison camp. On his way back, Buckley barely had enough strength to walk. He was weak and exhausted when he came across an Aboriginal grave with a spear stuck into it. He took the spear out and used it as a walking stick on his journey. Near where Moriac is now, Buckley must have fainted from hunger or thirst. He was close to death from starvation when the Wathaurong tribe found Buckley.
They took him to their camp where they prepared a great fire and performed a ceremonial dance. He feared for his life, but the tribe thought he was their elder, Murrungurk, who had returned from the dead in a white body. Buckley had found Murrungurk's spear, and that's why the Wathaurong people thought he was the spirit of Murrungurk.
Buckley stayed with the tribe and became part of Murrungurk's family. He moved from place to place with the tribe and learnt the ways of the Wathaurong people.
Over time, Buckley learnt to speak the Wathaurong language. Because he was considered a special spirit, Buckley spent his time with both the women and the men. The women and the men had different roles, but they were both allowed to light fires. They did this using coastal flint stones or fire sticks, which were rubbed together.
The Wathaurong taught him how to find food and live off the land. With the women, Buckley gathered and prepared foods. He would have used a digging stick to dig up sweet yams, which were roasted in the fire. The women made and carried wooden bowls called coolamans, which were cut from the bark of a tree. They gathered berries and seeds in the coolamans. Even babies were carried in the coolamans to protect them from the dirt and the sand.
Buckley also went on hunting expeditions with the men. They taught him how to use a spear thrower made from wood and the sinew of a kangaroo's tail, sealed with the sap from a tree. Buckley learnt how to spear possums and kangaroos and skin them with the mussel shells.
Sometimes they lived at Lake Corongamite, eating the swans and their eggs. At a lake called Yowanconties, Buckley's tribe built stone and reed houses because there were no trees. They lived on the barren plains for months, catching eels for food. When food became short, they moved around the Barwon River Valley, visiting other tribal hunting grounds.
After many years of living with the Wathaurong, Buckley built a hut on the banks of a creek near Bramley. He lived there alone, although he remained in close contact with the Wathaurong people.
In 1835, a party of Englishmen came from Van Diemen's Land to Port Phillip Bay looking for new grazing land. They made camp at Indented Head, and there one afternoon they saw a huge figure approach. It was a white man draped in kangaroo skins with long, matted hair and a huge beard. William Buckley was coming to meet the first white people he had seen in 32 years.